The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt, so get ready, nerds, because we're talking the WandaVision finale. Welcome, and thank you for joining us on the Salty Nerd Podcast. I'm your host, the Salty Nerd. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing the WandaVision finale that just dropped this week. And I'm joined, as always, by my awesome panel of nerds, starting with the ambassador of estrogen, and Scarlet Witch herself.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Your hair is looking very Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh, thank you.
You just need the little crown.
I do need a crown.
You do.
I'm severely lacking in crowns.
We need to get you a crown.
And
all right.
Superpowers.
Is it a crown or a tiara? What is it?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
I'm going to say crown.
Okay.
Crown sounds better. I'm also joined by Matt Vader, 74. What's up, dude?
I'm here, man.
Yeah, you are. Welcome to the show.
I need my wig.
You are missing some swagger today. And last but not least, Matthew Kadish. Welcome to the show.
I don't need no wig. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm ready to talk about this train wreck.
Right on. The train wreck.
Wow.
Oh, no. Right out of the gate. All right, guys, before we dive into this train wreck, real quick word from our sponsors. All right, let's dive into it. What we normally do for the show is Matthew Kadish will run through the synopsis, and then we will interrupt him as needed and talk about the show as we go on. So thanks for joining us, and Matthew Kadish, take it away.
All right, so immediately following the previous episode, Wanda attacks Agatha with her magic, allowing Billy and Tommy to get to safety. However, she quickly learns that Agatha is able to absorb Wanda's powers while weakening her. Wanda takes the indirect approach and tosses a car into Agatha, which crashes into her house. When Wanda goes to check if Agatha is dead, she only sees her boots, reminiscent of the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah, I was going to say, there was a little Wizard of Oz shout out right there. It was cool.
Yeah, that was
I
cool.
kind of chuckled at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the power fighting, like, I feel like this is going to be something that Kadish is going to nitpick. Not nitpick, that's mean. I shouldn't say that. He's going to criticize that Agatha, like, is absorbing power. That's her thing. But then later on in the show, she kind of, like, loses that ability somehow. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But this opening scene is interesting. Mm-hmm. It was cool.
I was on board.
Yeah, that was fun.
You know, we all came into the opening of this finale very excited and
hopeful.
And it just got worse as it went on.
Well, I mean, okay, so I knew that there was about 3 episodes worth of stuff that they needed to tie up in one episode. I was glad that they lengthened the episode, but still, I knew that there was going to be some ends not tied.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's MCU stuff, so we kind of have to expect that they're going to be doing callbacks and references to this show later on with the big budget movies and stuff.
Well, one of the things I did like about the opening is that, you know, in the previous episode, they set up that Agatha was able to absorb other magic. Mm-hmm. And so when we saw Wanda attack her and she absorbed her power, I was like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
and I mean, not good in a way where it's like, it's not good for Wanda because, you know, she's going to have a hard time defeating her.
Yeah, it sets up a good villain. Like, that's the thing about a good villain is you want your hero to have to think outside the box to be able to defeat them.
And it should matter, you know? Like, we as the viewers, we were like, oh, shit, what's going to happen? Yeah. Oh, shit, that just happened.
That's one of my nitpicks, though, is that I don't look at Agatha as a villain. Like, she's definitely Wanda's antagonist, but Wanda's the villain in this series, it turns out. Like, this episode shows that, like, other than killing Sparky, Agatha didn't really do anything villainish, you know. She was basically, in fact, she was
fact finding.
But she freed the townspeople from Wanda's mind control, and she got Wanda to open up like the hex board. Like, if you really look at this, Agatha's the good guy in this story.
No, she's not, because she wanted Wanda's power to be able to do the same thing.
Well, I mean, like she had selfish motives, but if you look at like the moral implications of the actions, Agatha's actions all helped the people of Westview, whereas Wanda's hurt them. So it was a very weird choice by the writers, I thought.
We're going to get into it, I think, a little bit deeper, but I will say this. I hope that it's not glossed over in the future. I hope the writers of the MCU take a look at this show and say, a lot of fans, because I know Kadish isn't the only one, are saying that Wanda was the villain, so we need to feed off of that in the future. So I'm kind of reserving judgment. Like, yes, it's a very strange choice, but I feel like if they play it off right later on, it's going to be awesome. So continue. What happens next?
All right. Then albino Vision shows up. Recognizing Vision's body, Wanda goes to him to see if it's the real Vision, but albino Vision suddenly tries to kill her. Before he can, the other Vision appears and rescues Wanda. Wanda apologizes to her Vision for not telling him the truth, but Vision forgives her. Wanda says she can fix this mess that she's made, just as albino Vision and Agatha reappear. Both Vision and Wanda agree to fight for their home as Vision faces off with his doppelganger and Wanda fights with Agatha.
So the scene where Wanda walks over to White Vision, Blanco Vision. She walks over to him. It was like it was very nerve wracking. I was like, no, something bad's gonna happen. And they like take each other's hands, and he grabs her head, and I'm like, oh no. And then he starts squeezing, and I was like, ah, like it was very stressful for me. I was like, oh my God, dude, this is terrible. It was like the emotional feeling of like seeing somebody that you love, but it's not quite them, and then it turns out to be like evil version of them. It was cool. I like that thing. It was a interesting. I kind of saw it coming, but it was still kind of cool to see.
I was never scared for anybody in this movie.
No?
Or in the show, no.
I was very excited to see this scene because I wanted to see the two Visions face off.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. And
Now-
it was a pretty epic face-off.
yeah, now that they're both inside the hex, I was like, ooh, it's gonna happen.
It was really cool. I really did enjoy their fight too. And their conversation that we'll get to in a minute that they had
Yes.
was awesome.
I did think it was kind of funny that he throws Vision into this RV or Blanco Vision into this RV, and it just instantly explodes, like massive explosion.
That's how vehicles work.
Yeah.
Propane tank, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. All right, continue.
All right. So while the fighting is happening, Monica is trapped in Agatha's house with fake Pietro. When Monica tries to escape, fake Pietro uses his super speed to stop her and keeps her locked in the attic.
Okay, this is where I started getting pissed.
Okay, talk to me about Pietro.
This whole time we've been like, who's Ralph? Does Ralph exist? And it turns out it's Pietro.
Ralph
Like-
Boner.
Ralph
Oh.
Boner.
Boner.
That was such a letdown. Is I wanted Evan Peters playing Pietro to mean something. The fact that it's just some guy named Ralph, it was like, well, why even have him?
Is it though?
Because it was just completely for subversion.
I mean,
It's
it came down to a case of stunt casting is what this
Yes.
actually was, as
Mhm.
opposed to something meaningful.
It was a troll.
I don't know if that's true or not.
It's true.
I don't know because, okay, there was something that
You're thinking way too hard.
No, but there's something that I completely forgot about from the beginning of the show that they didn't reference at any point afterwards. But remember the whole reason why they went to Westview? Why the FBI was there? Because there was a person in protective services that was inside Westview.
Yeah, but they never answered who that was.
I think it's Ralph.
You
Because
can
I think
think that all you want.
I
but
think
they
that's
never tell you.
no, I think that's a fake name because he like Boner. Like who laughs at their own last name? If your last name is Boner, are you really going to laugh at
he was
it?
still under the thrall of Agatha at that point.
Here's the thing, though.
Maybe.
Yeah, Agatha didn't show up until after the hex was created, but just the fact that, like, you know, it's almost like that's a story for another time. They set up the fact that there was this witness protection guy, which was the catalyst for, you know, finding the hex, and then they just completely dropped that storyline. And that's not the only storyline that they dropped.
They dropped all
throughout the
kinds of
course
stuff.
of
Yeah.
this series, and it just goes to show like how lazy some of the writing is.
I don't think it's lazy. I think they're just leaving it for future MCU stuff.
Oh yeah, because the future MCU stuff is going to address who the witness protection guy in that town.
I
Right.
bet you it will.
It could.
I
but
bet you
doubt
like
it.
the next freaking Ant-Man or whatever show, if Jimmy gets his own show, you know, the Hex Files or whatever it is.
I think you're giving the makers of the show. too
Look,
much
okay,
credit.
You're
look.
so cute when
I
you're
think-
hopeful.
No, I'm serious though, because like I know MCU gets a lot of flack for being like carbon copy, oh, it's color and paste, blah 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 blah, whatever. They do a lot of really cool like long-term writing stuff where the Kevin Feige's up there saying, okay, this has to happen in order for this, like 2-3 years from now in a movie is going to happen here. It's subtle, but there's always a through line.
I don't have a huge issue with this show. I think like you guys do, because I didn't really come into this show expecting a whole lot. What we got a little bit of closure in the Wanda and Vision story from the movies. We got her into her Scarlet Witch persona, which everybody wanted.
Yep.
We got White Vision, which was in the comic books.
Mhm.
You know, that had to happen. And we got some little dabblings and sprinklings and stuff for the future MCU. And that's all this show was supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, and it introduced us to some new characters that are probably going to have more, you know, roles to play in the future.
Well, I think- I know the actress said that she doesn't know if Agatha's coming back, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, they didn't. They left her there on purpose.
So
it's something. It's a wild card that they can play with later.
I have counters to your argument about the writing for the MCU, but I will save those until the end of the episode, because like we can really kind of dig down into like why a lot of this stuff is probably never going to come up again. But regardless, as the two visions fight in the skies above Westview, Hayward and his agents monitor the conflict outside the Hex. Agent Wu is brought before Hayward. Apparently he was captured off screen for some reason. And Wu uses his sleight of hand to palm a cell phone while telling Hayward he'll never be able to cover this up. Hayward then reveals his evil plan on how he is going to go against Sword's legal obligations to decommission Vision and claim his reactivated Vision was really the one from the Hex after destroying any evidence proving otherwise. Saying all this right in front of all of his minions, by the way. Wu mockingly agrees to join Hayward, but says he's already called Quantico for backup and they'll be there within the hour. Hayward thinks he's bluffing and has Wu locked away. Once locked up, Wu uses his cell phone to call in backup, asking them to arrive within the hour.
Who did he call?
His friend?
Someone.
His buddy.
He called the FBI, man. Just the FBI.
I think his name was Will.
I thought it was Clint. I honestly thought Hawkeye
no.
was going to show up
No.
at the end of this. I was like, oh, he's going to call Hawkeye. That would be so cool.
Have you learned nothing from this show?
No, not yet.
You sweet summer child.
Anything cool that could happen, they're not going to do.
Oh, you know what the troll job that happened with Paul Bettany, where everybody was like, oh, who's the secret cameo? And he's like, oh, I've been waiting to work with this guy for my entire life.
That got out of hand.
That was that. Okay. If you're pissed about that, I get it. Because that was a little.
Explain to the audience what that is.
Okay, sorry. So Paul Bettany, early on in the promotion of this show, was talking about how, like, at the end of during the end of this show, there's going to be a surprise character that's going to show up that he's been waiting to work with his entire life, and he's super excited, and he can't wait for the audience to see the cameo. And it just turns out to be him as White Vision versus regular Vision, which, I mean, it's kind of cool, but at the same time, he was just trolling us. I don't know if I don't like it when actors do that.
I like Real Vision versus Hex Vision.
Yeah. Is it Real Vision?
Yeah.
Who is the Real Vision?
White Vision is Vision. It's his old body.
Is it though?
Yes.
Is it? Remember the conversation they had?
It's his old body without his consciousness.
Let's get to that because I really want to talk about that conversation.
But just real quick, I appreciated that troll job.
Yeah, you did?
It was masterful. Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Kudos
to Paul Bettany.
Kudos to Paul Bettany. Yes.
Nice. All right.
I will say that I don't like the fact that, I don't like how they handled the character of Hayward. Like he basically just ends up being like your stereotypical, like kind of paint by the numbers, bad white bureaucrat guy.
Government guy.
Yeah. and I feel like there was a lot of room where they could have played him in a more nuanced way.
Yeah.
And like his whole thing about like, I'm going to kill Wanda and I'm going to claim that this is the original Vision and that way I can have control over it. They never kind of lay out why he's doing all this stuff and like what his motivation was for wanting Vision to
Hail Hydra.
That would have been nice. It would have been nice if they had given him some other motivation other than just being a jerk. Like I just feel like they really dropped the ball with the character.
I'll give you that one. Hayward was very one-dimensional.
One little whispered Hail Hydra or something in there
would have fixed the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I know he does that one line that he says a couple episodes ago where he was talking about how much he hates superheroes because they caused the blip and they caused all this problems, and that kind of was like the most character development they gave him in the entire show.
If he had just like checked the time at one point and he was wearing that Hydra watch for that commercial, that would have been sick.
Right. Again, if it's cool, it's not in the show.
Continue.
All right. So Wanda tracks Agatha to the town square. Agatha reveals the Darkhold, the Book of the Damned, an evil book filled with the power of dark magic. She tells Wanda she's more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme and that it's her destiny to destroy the world. When Wanda claims not to be what Agatha says she is, Agatha begins releasing the residents of Westview from Wanda's mind control. As more and more townspeople have their mind control broken, Wanda begins to realize the torture she was putting them all through.
This was dark.
Yeah, they were like, when you let us sleep, we have your nightmares.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's real dark.
Witchy woman.
Well, at first, Anya, I forget her name. Dottie. In the show, like when she's the first one to have her mind control released, and she goes to Wanda, like
so
begging her to let her child out of her room and like all this other like creepy stuff.
Yeah, she's like, she can be whatever you want. She could be friends with the boys, or she could be the bully. Whatever you want. Please just let me hold my daughter again.
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, that's
whatever story you want to go with.
that was straight like Wanda's the villain of this freaking show, man.
Yeah.
There's no
This
two ways
really
about
sealed
it.
But she didn't know it.
Yeah, but
She didn't want to know it.
she knew because she was the one who was keeping it under wraps, and every time somebody tried to break character, she would freaking snap them back into it. Like she knew. She was just maybe not fully conscious of the consequences, but either way, no matter how you cut it, Wanda's bad.
Even at this point, she's like, "You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're all fine."
And then when they start surrounding her and she like chokes him to death, like not to death, but when she starts choking him, I'm like, Jesus, lady, like your grief can only gift you so much slack.
Yeah, you better hurry up and be fine before I kill you, and then you're not fine.
That was real messed up. I don't know how else to say it. I mean, do you forgive her for that? Is that something that you can be like, yeah, but she's still a hero? Anybody?
She's always been a bit of an anti-hero.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean,
it kind of depends.
she was in Hydra for crying out loud.
Yeah.
She's the most powerful being in the universe.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess just don't piss her
Just
off.
give her what she wants. Keep her happy.
She
Give her
almost,
kids back.
yeah.
Spoiler, sorry.
Kadish, what
Everybody's-
Continue.
We're literally the last Wanda show people are going to watch.
I know.
Before.
Kadish, what are your thoughts on how Wanda reacted to seeing the townspeople?
I mean, like, you know, this is a woman who has no problem mind controlling people, but she didn't realize that she was torturing them as she was mind controlling them, which is kind of like a weird contradiction in terms, because you'd think taking away someone's free will would just inherently be a form of torture. But it was interesting to see like how she came to realize what she had been putting these people through, because inherently Wanda is not a bad person. She wants to, you know, she doesn't want to hurt people. And so the realization that Agatha forced her to confront that she was actually like torturing all the people in this town was pretty dark and horrifying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not good.
All right. What happens next?
All right. Back at Agatha's house, Monica realizes that fake Pietro is really Ralph Boner, the owner of the house. Monica realizes Agatha is controlling Ralph with an enchanted necklace and takes it away, breaking Agatha's control over Ralph and robbing him of his powers. And Jude had to point out to me that this was the husband Ralph that Agatha had been referring to the entire season. So I thought that was interesting. From their house, Billy and Tommy watch the two visions fight in the sky. Billy has psychic flashes of what's happening to Wanda and tells Tommy that they have to go help her. As the residents of Westview team up on Wanda, she realizes the torture she put them through. After almost choking everyone to death with her defensive magic, she opens up the boundaries of the hex to allow Westview residents to escape, which is kind of funny because, like, you know, the town's a couple miles wide, so it would take them quite a bit to
Run. Like, how many people do you think got out?
Yeah, especially since like she expanded the border, so it's like even bigger.
It's huge.
So like there was no time for those people to escape before she closed the boundaries again. So
yeah, you're right. Nonsense.
Yeah. So the borders open, and Hayward orders his troops through, the breaches into the town. But as Wanda attempts to take down the barrier, she discovers that her vision and her children are linked to it and will die if she gets rid of it. Wanda stops tearing down the hex just as Agatha drains a lot of her powers, further weakening Wanda. Then Hayward and his sword agents show up. Together, the WandaVision family take on their enemies. Wanda continues to battle Agatha. Vision battles El Blanco Division. And Billy and Tommy take out the sword agents.
I love the Incredibles reference in this scene. Really awesome. Like that's kind of like something that I hope they take in the future when this all kind of gets settled and Wanda's back with Vision, and maybe they
even referenced the Incredibles in the previous episode.
Yeah, there was in the billboard on the back, right? Or the movie
on the movie marquee.
Yeah.
They even did the pose, right?
Yep, they did the pose and everything, and the zoom in. It was.
I really liked that scene where they said there was something like, "We've never really prepared you for this, but you were born for it."
Yeah.
And then they take their pose.
Oh, it
was cool.
Yeah, it was so cool. And I love how the little boys teamed up to take down the military guys. It was like, again, it just shows how useless these like normal humans are when it comes to going up against superheroes.
And then of course, one-dimensional Hayward is just like, "I'm gonna kill these kids."
He tries to shoot the little kids.
Yeah.
That pissed me off. I'm like, if you're gonna criticize anything in the show, definitely Hayward be top billing. Like just ridiculous over the top villain for no reason.
For no reason.
And he's not even over the top. He's just dumb.
Yeah, it's
just a poorly kind
they have to die.
done character.
Yeah. I didn't like that part. I thought it was kind of silly. And then what's her name?
Monica?
The girl's name? No, not Monica. The other one, the plucky
Agatha.
sidekick that comes in on the truck.
Oh, Darcy.
Darcy. Yeah, Darcy comes out of freaking nowhere.
Yeah, that's her only line of the whole movie, of the whole episode.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What does she say?
Have fun in jail.
They
or
don't
something
even
like that.
they don't even show her like leaving town.
Yeah, no,
there's
it's
no
just-
denouement with her.
No, it was nonsense. She just comes out of nowhere in like a Deus Ex
She's
Machina.
been on her way to town
For
ever
like-
since Vision left the truck.
She's been
That's
there.
how long it takes to get across town. There's no way those people were able to run out.
She's still in the old
That's right.
freaking
She's still in that same.
the funnel of love.
Driving a funnel truck. And like, there's been a lot of crosswalk,
Yeah,
congestion along the way.
just silly. It was a bit convenient, a
It
bit
took her
silly.
3 days to get there.
Yeah, but whatever. It is what it is. It's a goofy show. All right. Continue, Kadish.
So the two Visions battle in the town library. Vision asks for Albino Vision's prime directive, which is to kill the Vision. But he points out that this does not compute because he is a conditional Vision. I love how polite Vision is when he's fighting someone.
Yeah, very analytical.
He's just like, I request further elaboration.
And like, they're like straight up like killing each other. And then all of a sudden they have a conversation. And the next thing conditional Vision does is like, he goes to touch his White Vision's head and he's like, may I? Like now all of a sudden he's asking for consent.
Vision's always very polite.
He's very polite. I love it though, because it's cool to me because I think like if anybody's going to be able to get through to the robot Vision, it would be the other robot Vision. He understands how he thinks. So by posing a question, it's going to stop him in his tracks and he has to compute something first before he goes forward. So I thought it was cool. I thought they were playing off of each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Probably the
What-
best scene of this episode.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
What was the stone? in
There was no
White
stone.
Vision?
There's no stone.
But there's
Just like a
Glass?
a sea glass for the inside of his brain or something. I don't know.
Okay.
But there's no stone there.
no. Yeah, I mean, I knew it wasn't like a mind stone or
Yeah.
anything,
It's a
but
computer chip.
Yeah.
yeah, I wondered what they filled that hole in with.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I thought it was really like the design of Blanco Vision was awesome. I think he looks really cool. Like it'll be a cool when he comes back to his normal self later on in an MCU movie, like his new version of himself. He's got like his head has new designs on it and stuff like that. I just thought it was really cool looking. White Vision was awesome with his blue crystal
That's
eyes.
racist
Why?
because you can't say White Vision is awesome.
Blanco Vision is awesome. Red Vision is awesome too. Why? All right, continue.
All right. So using the ship of Theseus comparison, Vision points out to White Vision that both of them are the real Vision, but at the same time, neither of them are. While White Vision has the original body without the Mind Stone, the other Vision is a reconstruct made from Wanda's memories that has none of the original materials or memories. White Vision still retains his rot, which are his own memories locked away by Hayward. Using his powers, Vision helps White Vision to reawake the memories of his former life before flying away and leaving the Hex, presumably to find himself. I love how Blanco Vision just pieces out after he gets his memories.
This annoyed me.
The thing I don't get about White Vision is how he has all his flying and phasing powers and everything without the stone.
That's the vibranium stuff. That wasn't Mind Stone. The Mind Stone.
And they juiced him with the power that was left on the.
From Wanda.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
All right. That's
Was
fine.
that
the drone.
drone?
Yeah.
That's all I need. I just wanted to know.
Yeah,
why.
the vibranium makes him durable, but it was Wanda's powers that kind of reintroduced the Mind Stone powers to the body.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, this is my favorite scene in this episode. I thought the conversation about the ship and whether or not it's the same ship it used to be, how many pieces can you replace before it stops being the same ship? Like that was a really cool little back and forth that they had, and it not only made the characters think, but it made me think too. And I'm like, I think Vision's dead, man. Like Vision's dead, and the reason why he just bailed this is my theory behind this, is when Vision reactivates all those memories, it kind of furthers that analogy that they were using about the ship, where yes, he has those memories, but he doesn't have the same connection to them as somebody like the original Vision would. He knows it's like information, but he has no like real heartfelt connection
he's
to it.
on his way to Stark headquarters.
Yeah, he has to go, basically he has to bail and go like compute what just happened and try and figure out who he is.
He's gonna go find Jarvis and
Yeah.
and
And Ultron. And all that stuff. I don't know. I just thought I understand why people are like, why did he just leave? Wouldn't he go to rescue Wanda? And I'm like, it's not really him though. It's just a dude that just got like blasted with all this information and he's confused and he's just like, I gotta get the hell out of here.
I think you're speculating an awful lot in order to try and make this make sense to you because you don't want to hate it, which is fine. Do you, boo-boo?
No, I understand why people don't like it, but I'm just thinking out loud. What's going to happen in the future? Because I know this is...
I guess it just didn't bother me that much.
It didn't bother you? Good.
Yeah.
Glad.
Whatever.
Do you want to talk about why it bothered you?
I mean, we can.
Go ahead.
I felt the way that you said most people probably think like this. Yeah. He got his memories back. And what I wanted from this scene was for the two of them to fight, which I got, and then for the two of them to realize that they were basically the same. And then I wanted them to like become one.
Yeah, I did too.
Like I kind of, I wanted them to like merge or something or make love or something.
in my
I
head,
really expected them to both be fighting on the same team at least. For him to just leave, dumb.
I figured Wanda was going to use her powers or something in this episode when she saw her vision and old vision or white vision. Because they're basically both are vision, but they're both not, right?
Yeah.
So I figured she was going to use her powers, or maybe Agatha or somebody was going to do it, and they were going to like mold them together, to make Vision whole again,
Pink
to make
Vision.
real Vision.
Pink Vision.
You know, so
red and white make pink.
But we technically kind of got that when he put his finger in the crystal,
and his little thing turned yellow.
They just didn't do it the way we wanted them to do it.
Yeah.
So Vision is Vision again. He'll be back, and
because you have to remember too, is like the Hex Vision is not actually Vision because he has no memory of the past events. Remember, he said, "I can't remember anything before Westview," so he doesn't know who he is really. So if they would have merged, it would have been pointless because it wasn't really Vision.
Because then he would have gotten the real Vision's memories incorporated.
So it's like the body and the soul, kind of a thing.
White Vision has all of Vision's memories up until basically the Hex.
Yeah.
And then Red Vision has all of the memories from the Hex on. So like White Vision has no memory of being like Wanda's husband or the father of these kids. And that's all that Red Vision knows. So if they had merged, they would have had the memories of both.
Become whole.
Yeah.
I always
the fact that he just flew off, I thought was sloppy. Like you just wanted to like, I don't know, get that out of the way so that you can hurry up and finish the episode.
That's very possible. Yeah. Kadish, do you agree with Jude?
I do. I think that it was lazy writing, and it was just another squandered opportunity that this show kind of set up and failed to pay off. Because Wanda reveals at the end of the episode that her vision, the Hex Vision, is the part of the Mind Stone that lives on within her. And the Mind Stone is intrinsically linked to who Vision is. And so if they had somehow been able to incorporate that into Vision's actual body, it would have been such a poetic way of bringing the character back in a believable fashion.
And powerful.
Yeah. But instead they chose to go a different way. So after Billy and Tommy disarm all the sword agents, Hayward attempts to shoot them, murdering children. However, Monica arrives just in time and uses her newfound Deus Ex Machina abilities to stop the bullets. Hayward attempts to flee, but Darcy arrives in her truck and pins him in his vehicle, mockingly saying, "Have fun in prison."
Yeah, we talked about that already.
She's such a Mary Sue.
Who?
Photon. Monica.
Really?
Mary Sue. Yeah.
I wouldn't call her a Mary Sue. I'm
fucking with Kadish right now.
She is a Deus Ex Machina because it just seems like her powers, whatever they need her powers to be at the time, that's what her powers are.
Yeah, do we even know? Like,
no.
We have no context of what she's capable of.
Like, when she first realized she had the powers, she was like, she could see like electromagnetic fields.
Yeah, the whole stopping bullets thing came out of nowhere.
She can like phase through things like Vision does. Yeah, that was really weird.
You know what her powers are?
Whatever they need to be.
Yep.
Does anybody know?
Convenience powers.
Does anybody know what the powers are from the comic books? She's more like Captain Marvel, right? Where she's just like
I thought so.
Like Super Scion, freaking lights on fire.
Well, good writing would have set up what she's able to do before she did it. So,
yeah.
I mean,
I'm with you on that. It was a
Me too.
It was a weird thing, like came out of nowhere, and I don't know anything about this character's powers because we just got introduced to her in this show. And they have not told us any kind of setup for what she can and can't do. So,
And also like Hayward trying to murder the children.
So dumb.
It was just like, come on, man.
Yeah. Like at least like if he was shooting at Wanda, I would get it. Like that's been his goal from the beginning.
Or if he was shooting at Monica to begin with, you know, like trying to murder kids, like.
I mean, why don't you just give him a mustache and have him tie people to a train track?
Exactly. Yeah. All right, continue. What happens next?
All right, so Wanda uses her mind powers and enter Agatha's memories of her failed execution, but the trick backfires when the witches of the past identify Wanda as the Scarlet Witch and attack her, which I thought was kind of weird.
It was very weird.
Memories attacking her, okay, whatever. Wanda escapes from the memory and chases Agatha high above Westview. The two witches fight with Wanda, willingly giving her powers to Agatha, while also attacking the barrier of the anomaly with all of her missed shots. Missed shots in quotes.
There was a cool a little moment where Wanda like threw a little freaking magic ball at her, and it was like a deliberate miss, and you could see Agatha go like, what were you aiming at? And I'm like, oh, there's something happening here, huh?
Just when it looks like Wanda is completely drained, Agatha goes to attack her with her new Scarlet Witch powers, but discovers that she cannot use her magic. It turns out that Wanda was magically etching runes into the walls of the anomaly, making it impossible for Agatha to use her magic inside of it. Wanda then reclaims her powers and fully embraces her Scarlet Witch persona, getting a new costume in the process. Wanda then punishes Agatha by turning her into Agnes and promising to reawaken her if she ever needs her help.
Okay, so before we criticize, or before we gush over Wanda's new costume, let's criticize this rune thing.
That was set up.
I didn't
in the
mind
last
it.
episode.
You didn't mind it, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How did she learn them? Like Agatha was like, "Oh, I have runes so that you can't use your powers."
So there's a scene where Agatha has Wanda kind of immobilized in her sanctum beneath her house.
Yeah.
And she's talking about runes, and Wanda looks and sees what the runes are that are preventing her from using her magic. And so she just copies what she remembered into the walls. But like, because she's a Scarlet Witch and she doesn't need like to say incantations or like whatever, she's just able to create these runes and they just work magically.
It was set up enough for me. I didn't mind it.
Okay, I felt
like it would have been nice if she had specifically like if they had taken time to have her like be like, oh, okay, that's what these runes mean, or like figure them out,
like just
or
one little scene where she looks at them and like the camera like, okay, Wanda is learning what these are.
We get that later.
I didn't get that at all. Like let's end like the double end credit scene or whatever. But like in this scene, I was like, how did she learn how to do that? All she did was look at him real quick, and that's all it takes for her to know how to do these like magical spells.
Like it was a clever way to defeat Agatha.
Yeah,
but it really should have been set up better.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it wasn't set up enough. Like it is what it is. But I just felt like there wasn't enough there for me to believe that she was able to like copy what Agatha had done. Okay, so let's gush over this freaking new costume. Holy hell, Wanda looks amazing as Scarlet Witch. This new costume is dope.
Too much material.
What do you mean?
He wants more skin.
Oh, you want the leotard with the pink tights?
Oh yeah.
No, I loved it, man. Like if this is gonna be her in the future MCU movies, like she looks really good.
It looked very
badass.
MCU.
Yeah, very badass.
Her costume looked very reminiscent of Magneto's in the last X-Men movie.
Yep, I noticed that too. And she has on her like little necklace area, she has a piece of her uniform costume that looks like the Mind Stone. It's like the same shape. It's the hex. So I thought that was really cool. But I know freaking Elizabeth Olsen with the big red hair like Jude has today. It was just like fire. Awesome.
Yeah, she looked good.
She looked real good. All right, what happens next, Kadish?
All right, so Wanda, Vision, Billy, and Tommy. Before I continue any further, I just want to say that like I think it's kind of the height of irony that Wanda, after learning the torture that she put people through, that she had under her mind control powers, decides to put Agatha underneath her control and keep her that way. Like even once the
hex is gone.
Yeah. Like that was like, that was some super villain stuff right there.
Mm-hmm.
I dig it. Of all the people that would have happened to though.
She's got a gray area there for sure.
Yeah. But I think we've established that like Agatha didn't actually do anything all that terrible except maybe killing
She
Sparky.
had really bad intentions.
Okay.
So that's all.
She's a bad person.
She's a witch.
Don't be witchist.
Don't be witchist.
Yeah. All right. So Wanda, Vision, Billy, and Tommy head home as the hex begins to shrink back down. Wanda and Vision say goodnight to Tommy and Billy before Wanda has one final moment with Vision, which was very, very emotional.
Oh, so emotional.
Yes.
Yes.
Wanda tells him that he was created from the piece of the Mind Stone that lives inside her, and that he is her true love. Vision tells Wanda that he will meet her again before the hex completely vanishes as her family and dream house disappear.
Okay. So I need to back up because she has this moment with her kids, and like throughout the whole moment, I don't know how you felt, but I was just like, is she really going to do this? She's really going to like disappear her kids?
She's going to kill her kids.
And it's not emotional at all. She's just like, thanks for choosing me to be your mom. It was sweet.
Yeah.
And that's why I was still like, is this happening? Is this why? Who? And I was so confused. And then she comes downstairs and she has this. That's the moment she has with Vision is the moment that I expected her to have with her kids. Is she's about to kill her kids.
Yeah, and the kids are completely in the dark about what's about to happen. It's like super like.
Okay, good night, mom. Love you.
Love you.
Yeah, see you in the morning.
See you in the morning. Like, no, you're gonna die.
No, I won't.
I didn't take it that way.
How'd you take it?
These people didn't really exist to begin with.
It's just figments of her imagination.
Imagination.
I mean, to be honest, let's be real. She's known these kids for like 2 days. It's just like, come on.
They're still her kids, though.
Yeah,
but
she gave birth to them.
It's not real.
A day ago. It's just, I'm kind of with Vader on this. Like the kids, yes, it was kind of weird. I will give you that. It's very weird.
This whole thing was her grief,
but it's
in the loss of Vision.
Ultimately, it's a figment of her imagination.
That last scene needs to be with her coming to grips with
I don't know. You had that whole scene where Monica said like the kids are real. Wanda actually gave birth. They're not just made up from the hex. Like those are actually Wanda's kids. Mm-hmm. Like they made it a point to actually say that in the show.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll probably get to see the kids again.
Oh yeah, they're coming back.
Mephisto's got them down there, in the Matrix underworld, and it'll be fine. So I'm not worried. I'm not that worried about them.
Yeah. Like they didn't actually die.
Was they never really existed?
Because they never existed.
I just wanted more emotion in the scene where she's about to basically destroy her children.
Yeah.
And not even tell them, not even have a conversation with them about like,
you're supposed to say to them,
this is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it.
Like,
and it's the right thing to do. Like if you're going to do that, you should actually do that. And then she comes down and has
all
that
those speeches about how family's forever and stuff like that.
And then she comes downstairs and she has the moment with Vision that I wanted her to have with her children. And then we find out, yep, she's doing it. But I was just like, why couldn't you just like, I don't know, surround them in their own little like
hex,
rain cloud hex or something.
Or like let everyone leave the town and then just like keep the town and create new
I honestly, I thought what they were going to do is they were going to keep the house as underneath this house is where these people can live. But then I started thinking about that. I'm like, but then they could never leave.
Right.
So that would be super weird. So honestly,
just a prison.
The most humane thing would be to let them go and let them cease to exist. It wasn't painful for them to be disappeared. Like Vision wasn't in pain when he was disappearing.
I will say I liked like the Vision goodbye. I liked Vision's last
beautiful.
moments. Yeah, it was very emotional.
Which
good.
Really just made me double down on the fact that I didn't get that from her with her kids.
I didn't care too much about the kids.
You hate children. I don't know why you have so many.
She's a girl.
Yeah.
And with a kid, I get it. I get where you're coming from. For sure.
All right,
I mean, I feel the same way as Jude. I think there should have been a little bit more of an emotional goodbye with the kids.
Yeah.
They can't do that. That would just drag out the show.
True. But I mean, do you want to stay emotionally true to the core of your theme, or do you want to just get
wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
You want to pull a season 8 of Game of Thrones?
We got Falcon and Winter Soldier together.
It's not that bad.
I did feel a bit gutted after this.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. They totally season dated us on some of this stuff.
I don't know, man.
No,
that's a bit much. All right, continue. What happens next?
All right. Now alone, Wanda walks by her former neighbors before chatting with Monica, who sympathizes with Wanda, while admitting that if she had the same power, she would bring her mother back.
Stop. I'm sorry.
What?
If they had Game of Thrones this, the town would be in ruins right now.
Do you even know what Game of Thrones is?
Everybody would have been dead.
A dragon would have come out.
Flying around and
just blasting everybody.
And just fucking everybody up with her fireballs of death. All the townspeople would be little piles of ash in the town square.
I said a bit got it.
Yeah. So
I didn't say verbatim.
Got it. Like Game of Thrones GOT.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you meant?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you meant like, oh, gotcha.
No,
No.
I felt a bit GOT.
Okay, gotcha.
yeah.
Nice.
So she's no Khaleesi. It's a bad analogy.
Okay.
You don't know what analogy means, Vader.
Don't give me your shit, Mr. Smartass. I do know what it means, and it was a bad one. So carry on and read your little story.
Yeah, you have no context of what we're talking about.
I do. I actually
All
do.
right, so Monica says that if she had Wanda's power, she would bring her mother back. Wanda says goodbye and flies away, having one last look at Westview. I like how Monica's like, they'll never know what you sacrifice. In the meantime, like for weeks, these people have been like hurt, like
Her minions.
unwilling slaves,
Yeah.
forced
And
to
like they had to sacrifice not only their mind, their control, but also their families who were on the other side of the heads.
yeah, their children were having constant nightmares,
Stuck in their rooms.
stuck in their rooms,
Uh-huh.
unable to do anything until Wanda.
These
like,
people need
released them.
therapy.
So
Oh, yeah,
do we
for
know
sure.
what do we know what the timeline is? The actual
I was
timeline
going to ask
in
that
the real
too.
world from when she creates a hex to when she destroys
I
it?
think it's only been a couple of weeks.
Weeks?
I don't
Yeah.
even think it's been that long.
I don't think it's been that. I think it's days. I think each
Yeah.
episode, each like decade of an episode is like a day.
No,
That's kinda what I took from
because
it.
they implied that there were other episodes that they had been watching over the course of the time. It's just that in each episode of this show, we'd get one episode per episode. But you know, they implied that there had been like seasons worth.
I
of
kind
this
of took it as each season was a day. She'd wake up and it would be another
No,
show.
because they specifically said like weeks have passed like during the course of the
okay.
show.
But then there's that one scene where Vision says, you want me to go to bed so you can reset everything.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
It's
I'd like
very
to
ambiguous.
I'd like to see if there anybody could nail it down. Any super nerds out there on YouTube figured out exactly what the timeline
I
is.
don't know.
I'm sure there's like if you look at the computer screen, the date says this on this scene.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's somebody out there
Well,
that's done
I
it.
think that they've mentioned in episodes that like, you know, weeks have gone by and stuff like that. Like this anomaly existed for 2 weeks before they found it, from what I understand.
And like, how long did it take them to make that stupid car for Monica that didn't work?
Yeah.
Well, that was just a Shield moon rover.
Yeah. It was already built.
Yeah, it was a sword moon rover that
Yeah.
was already there. They just
Stole it.
and brought it to her.
So stupid. That was if you're gonna that part pissed me off. Thanks for reminding me about that. It's freaking fantastic.
gotcha.
Yeah.
But
Freaking-
I love how Wanda basically like took an entire town hostage, enslaved men, women, and children for weeks on end,
For her entertainment.
and basically just got to walk away from her crimes with Monica being like, "I feel you, girl."
I would have done the same thing. It's a bit.
Well,
like Wanda.
If I-
I mean,
she's
come
like,
on.
if I had your powers, bitch, you do.
she just bailed.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not.
I think
she didn't stick around and wait for him with handcuffs on.
no, I genuinely think that this is going to have repercussions later on. I don't think they're going to let this slide. Like they kind of let it slide for the finale because it's supposed to be like a feel good. Oh, you know, Wanda got over her grief.
I don't know about feel
what
good.
But what if they do want to do something to her?
Yeah, what are they going to do?
They can't do nothing to her.
Yeah, we're not going to
like-
imprison you, but you're out of the Avengers.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
are you going to arrest Thor? No.
Yeah.
It's like, come here, Hulk. We're going to put you in this prison because, you smashed something.
It's going to be another one of those
Maybe
things.
they'll send her to that trash planet and make
You know
her
what's gonna-
fight people.
you know
like
what's gonna
the Hulk
happen?
That
did.
would be pretty cool.
well, don't they have that prison for superpowered people? They showed it in
Well, they have,
Wasn't that on Asgard?
no, that was up in like the North Pole or
no,
something.
it was in
was
Civil,
under the-
oh,
it was in
oh,
under the
Civil
ocean.
War. It was
Yeah.
in Civil War where it's in the middle of the ocean and it's like this special place for.
I don't think
superpowered
that would have
people.
been able to hold Wanda.
Superhero Alcatraz.
that's not, that couldn't hold her. It couldn't
No.
hold Doctor
The only thing
Strange.
that I could think that would hold Wanda in like a prison would have to be something that was in like Thor's
Well,
universe.
would- they would have to-
all,
it
all
would-
they need is those runes.
Yeah,
in
it would
the
have to
prison.
have runes in it.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is I understand why people are like, oh, she's just going to walk away, but I genuinely think that later on she's going to have to face the consequences.
I think so.
I want to know, like, if Agatha was able to sense this, where the heck was Doctor Strange?
That's
like,
a great
like
question.
Well-
he's supposed to be the guy who protects Earth from stuff like this.
Yeah,
Maybe
remember-
we'll probably find out.
What do you do besides make animal balloons? I protect your reality, douchebag. Oh yeah, where were you on this one, buddy?
I think all of these questions are what the
Phase
people-
4 is going to answer,
the
right?
people are wanting to know.
Yeah.
I think we'll find out.
Remember, I feel like this is another case of like, remember when this show first began and like everybody had all these questions about what's the hex, what's this, what's that? And then there was a scene where Jimmy literally had all those questions written on a whiteboard. I feel like the same thing is true now. We have all these questions.
But now that whiteboard is in the circus because the wall's extended and they don't have those questions anymore. So they don't exist.
Okay. All right. Continue, Kadish. What happens now?
All right. So in a mid-credits scene, Jimmy arrives with the FBI to arrest Hayward and begin cleaning up Westview. A federal agent arrives telling Monica she's needed in the theater. But when Monica gets there, the theater is empty. The agent reveals herself to be a Skrull who tells Monica that, quote unquote, he has been asking for her to join them, referring to Nick Fury. She points upward, implying that Monica is headed to space.
Yeah, I was like, how far down in this theater is she going to walk before she realizes there's nobody there?
I saw it coming
What's
a mile.
the ruse?
Yeah, no, I saw what was happening coming a mile away. As soon as they were like, we want to meet you in the theater. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be her setup for Captain Proton or whatever her name is, her movie coming forward. So
Lieutenant Proton.
Sorry.
Photon.
All right. That's it. Anybody have any other comments about this scene?
I felt like it was kind of a disappointing way to kind of set up Captain Marvel too. Just like
They had to, though.
yeah, I know, but like I feel like maybe they could have done this better.
I think that's the moral of this whole episode.
I mean, that was.
It was
just a typical
it's just
credit scene.
Yeah. I didn't bother me
It's
at
like
all.
coming next time.
Yep.
Nick Fury's coming.
Nick Fury in space with Skrulls
yeah.
and Captain Photon.
All right, so let's get to the final post-credit scene where Wanda is now situated in an isolated cabin way out in the fucking nowhere.
I think she's in Sokovia.
It looked like Sokovia.
We don't know. But while the physical Wanda is making tea, her astral form is reading the Darkhold, learning about her power. But before she can finish, she hears the voices of Billy and Tommy who are calling her for help.
I think I want to say it was just Billy because Billy has that psychic connection.
That's a good point. I thought this was cool.
Yeah, me too.
I like it's a callback to Doctor Strange where he was using astral projection. But here's a cool thing about that was that it kind of shows Wanda's power is Doctor Strange, when he was doing the astral projection thing, his body was asleep. Mm-hmm. But for her, she can do both while she's completely awake, sipping her in a coffee or whatever, and also learning all this stuff. So it kind of just shows like she's just a notch above.
Sleeps for pores.
Yeah. You know, if you watched season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they actually have the Darkhold as a major plot point in that season, you'll know like how dangerous the Darkhold is. And the fact that Wanda is just like freely reading that thing, that's scary. Like my
looking for recipes in my book.
My theory that she is a villain was kind of solidified by that one scene, because you can't read the Darkhold and not be corrupted by it. That's part of the Darkhold's power, because it's pure dark magic. It was made by Dormammu, I think, something like that. It's infused with it, and so the fact that she's going through it means that she's being corrupted as she does it.
Maybe she's going to be the ultimate gray Jedi.
What?
Gray Jedi.
What? I don't understand. What is
this?
this?
The light side and the dark side.
What is this great? There is no
master of both.
I
know what you're doing.
It doesn't exist. I don't know what you're talking about.
She's Gandalf.
No, Gandalf. So do we think off this credit scene? Do we think that she's a villain moving forward? Phase 4 villain is WandaVision or Wanda?
I don't fucking know.
And Vision, like fully realized back to life Vision, is the one who has to come and bring her back.
Well, the whole purpose of this was to kind of set the stage for the next Doctor Strange movie. Mm-hmm. And so I've heard that Wanda is going to be the primary antagonist in the Doctor Strange film. She's the one that Doctor Strange is going to be fighting against. So,
and they need Agatha to defeat her.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
So my guess is like that in credit scenes was a setup for, what's going to be happening in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
I'm down for it.
Me too.
I'm a little bit more excited for Phase 4. Like after Endgame, I was kind of like, oh, this is a good jumping off point. I don't have to pay attention to what's going on in the MCU, but this show's job was to get me excited for Phase 4, and it did it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to see Doctor Strange. I want to see Wanda. I want to see what happens with Vision.
For sure.
Yep.
So I'm on board.
I really felt like this finale was very disappointing on a lot of different levels, and it didn't stick to the landing. I feel like I started off watching this show very disappointed because I feel like they squandered their first 2 episodes just recreating like classic sitcoms. And then once they started getting into like the mystery and stuff behind it, I was very intrigued because they were setting up a lot of potential like really cool things. And then they didn't pay off any of those in the finale. And overall, so like the showrunner, the person who created the show and who was the head writer of the show, her name's Jacqueline Schaefer. And she was the writer and co-director of the first Captain Marvel movie. And so she's the one who came up with Nick Fury losing his eye from a cat scratch. And I feel like this whole season was this level of, oh, I'm going to subvert expectations. Like, we're going to cast Evan Peters. The internet's going to go crazy, and we're just going to make him some dude.
That was pretty weak.
Yeah, it was very weak.
Like we had like all of our theories about how they're going to like incorporate the X-Men going forward and all this other stuff completely wrong.
Sentinels, like we went crazy on all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fantastic Four. Remember how pissed I was?
You know what they did, right? They're going to take all these fan theories now, and then they're going to go actually make some cool stuff.
Oh, good. So we've written the movie for you.
Yep.
Can you do a better job
It
then?
wouldn't shock me. It would not shock me.
They mine the internet's
Yes.
like
No, the thing is like no matter how much cool stuff you come up with, they're just going to ignore it and continue to subvert your expectations.
that's a terrible way of doing things.
And had I known that Jack Schaefer was like the brains behind the story, I would have been much more pessimistic in the middle of the season.
So you were subverted?
Yeah, like you know, Captain Marvel, it's a competent enough movie, but like there's so many writing mistakes with it that I can see kind of played back out in this series. Like, for instance, Jimmy Woo being so familiar with Monica after meeting her for like 2 seconds. It's like, oh, she does that. It's like, really, Jimmy?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah.
You've known her for all of like,
You've
2
been
seconds.
bitching about this one line Jimmy says for like 4 episodes.
I'm still freaking pissed off that Reed Richards didn't show up as like the
I know,
aerospace
and
engineer.
I'm with you that
It
didn't
would have been
go anywhere.
It would have been so easy.
But like the handling of Hayward as a villain, the you know, the weird thing about how, you know, basically our main character is the bad guy of this series, and the quote unquote villain, Agatha, is actually someone who hasn't done anything villainish for the most part other than killing that dog. So, you know, there's just such...
And I killed your dog.
There's just such... That was good. There's so many weird creative choices in this show that I think now that I know who was the creative person behind it, make more sense.
Yeah.
But it was a real letdown in my opinion, and they did not stick to the landing. This was a bad end to a very promising TV series.
Vader, what are your final thoughts?
I don't have much to add.
Okay. Were you disappointed like Kadish was, or were you okay with it?
I don't know if they stick the landing, but like I said, they sprinkled stuff for things going forward, and I just wasn't as put off, I guess, as you guys were.
I wasn't really put off.
Yeah, it's just
I thought it was okay. Like,
yeah,
I understand.
I totally get what Matt's saying.
Yeah.
And I get Jude's annoyance with it, and I'm not disagreeing with them. My expectations weren't super high.
You just don't care.
Well, yeah, I'm not a huge MCU guy, so I didn't read the comics, so I don't know what, you know, the source material is supposed to do, and
yeah, like Jude and I would sit up and
Yeah.
share our theories and get excited about what
and
the
watched
possibilities
each
were.
episode multiple times, looking for new things.
And I don't think we were alone in doing stuff like that. And
No, of course not.
and so like by the time all of the answers were supposed to come, I feel like this is very similar to what happened with Lost, where they would set up these really intriguing mysteries. Fans would go crazy and obsess over them, and then by the time they'd get to the answer, they'd just be like, this is the best we can do, guys.
Yeah, I felt it was a bit of an overpromise and underdeliver.
yeah.
Ultimately, I think it was a good show. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Like, I can't deny that I had so much fun with each episode.
Yeah.
But I really had high expectations for this last episode, and I knew going in that it was probably going to be a disappointment because I had such high expectations for it. But it really pisses me off when a show sets up some mysteries and they don't even address it going out, or like when they do something so lazy as like making Ralph Pietro. Like that just really irked me.
I don't know. I feel like there's something else there, but maybe I'm wrong.
I will say this, like the show really did make me care about Wanda and Vision more than I had going into it.
Yeah.
like they were probably what I would consider the least interesting side characters for like the Avengers and the MCU and stuff like that. Like I really didn't care about them when the show started, and now that the show's over, I'm like, oh, they're real characters to me. I actually enjoy these characters. I want to see more of them.
Yep.
So it was the series did a good job in that respect, but in terms of like setting up stuff for the MCU going forward, I feel like it was just miss after miss after miss.
Yeah, and the show gave us so much more depth to their relationship and their love story than the movies have.
Oh, for sure, yeah. All right, guys, is everybody satisfied with our discussion? Everybody good? Cool.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for our discussion of WandaVision season finale. Thanks for joining us. And always subscribe, like, comment. Let us know what you thought of this season finale. And join us every week on our YouTube channel where we discuss the newest TV show that's out. I think the next one we're going to be doing is Falcon and Winter Soldier. So look for that. Coming up in the next couple of weeks, we'll be reviewing that episode by episode. Thank you very much for joining us. Around the table before we get out of here, where can we find everybody on the socials? Matt Vader.
You can find me at MattVader74 at Twitter and YouTube and Instagram.
Right on.
Yeah.
Jude?
You can find me at I am Jude Juju on Instagram and Twitter, and I almost said Twitch. I'm not on Twitch. And on TikTok.
Right on. Matthew Kadish.
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter, and kadishbooks.com will take you to my Amazon page.
All right. And thanks for joining us. I'm the host, The Salty Nerd. You can catch me on Twitter at salty_nerd. And as always, stay salty, my friends.